Hey, welcome back to Vikings GamePlan. It's your announcer. Very happy to be joined by a person I've known for 2 decades. I would call him a friend, too. He's Mike Florio from ProFootballTalk.com and also NBC's Football Night in America. Before we chat Vikings football and the division, do I notice old school, best school Metrodome chairs behind you, Mr. Florio?
We've got some old school Metrodome chairs back there, yes. And listen, when you say 2 decades, I think you're rounding up. That makes me feel even older than I am if you say 2 decades. It hasn't quite been 2 decades yet.
With the 2020 Minnesota Vikings, just stream your consciousness, Mike. You're an elite football mind. 2020 Vikings, off the Saints win last year, bounced at the Bay. Then we've had COVID-19, virtual offseason, everything. What do you think about the Vikings in 2020?
Well, the one thing I think is beating the Saints in the wild card round earned several guys a lot of money, from Kirk Cousins to Mike Zimmer to Rick Spielman. I'm not sure they get those extensions if the Vikings go down to New Orleans and lose handily in the wild card round. And everyone's gotten their money except for Dalvin Cook.
Hand off Dalvin, up the middle, it's easy, and he's in the end zone, yes he is!
Cook had 94 yards rushing and 36 yards receiving in that game, 130 total yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. He's yet to get his reward, but that game laid the foundation for Cousins, Zimmer, Spielman to get their security into the future, and now they have to do something with it. And we've seen the roller coaster with the Vikings under Mike Zimmer. 1 year, no playoffs. Next year, playoffs. We're on the track where it's going to be no playoffs this year if that trend holds, although having the extra playoff berth in the NFC and in the AFC, for that matter, will make it a little easier to get in. The question becomes, can they go back-to-back playoffs for the first time in Zimmer's tenure as the head coach? And more importantly, when they get to the playoffs, can they do more than just beat the Saints? Can they beat an otherwise dominant team? Can they become a dominant team? Those are all things to be determined this season, although I don't know that they've done enough in the offseason to get themselves into that elite category in the NFC. The reality, though, is COVID-19 is going to be the great equalizer, and it's going to potentially make a great team not so great, and it's going to potentially allow a not so great team to be great, depending upon when and how often the coronavirus bug bites.
Now, with Dalvin Cook, if you think of the pantheon of running backs in the NFL, where is he? Like, how much do you like Dalvin compared to Christian McCaffrey all the way down to, like, guys 20 through 30?
I think Christian McCaffrey is in a class by himself, especially because of the way he catches the ball and runs the ball. And he was the only third 1,000-yard rushing, 1,000-yard receiving player in NFL history, joining Roger Craig and Marshall Faulk last year. So I think he's in a category all by himself. Dalvin Cook is probably in that second tier, just below the very best in the game. His top season, 1,100 yards last year, still missed a couple of games with injury. Look, durability is a big factor. He's in an offense where if Dalvin Cook's down, you put Alexander Madison in and he'll get it done. You put Mike Boone in, he'll get it done. It's that Gary Kubiak revolving door attack that created 1,000-yard rusher after 1,000-yard rusher when he was the offensive coordinator of the Broncos. Terrell Davis goes down, in comes Orlandis Gary, 1,000-yard season. He goes down, in comes Mike Anderson, 1,000-yard season. So, Dalvin Cook is a great player. He's been a great part of the team. Both Zimmer and Spielman have heaped superlatives on him. They're just having a hard time putting the value on him that is going to make Cook and his agent happy enough to take that extension. That's the one item of business that still needs to be done, and there's no guarantee that it is going to be done before the season begins.
Who do you think is the team to beat in the NFC North and why? Green Bay, Minnesota, or other?
Well, short-term Minnesota, long-term, if the Packers plan to take a step back in the hopes of taking multiple steps forward works, it's going to be them. For this year, I think it is the Vikings. The Packers were on the precipice of the Super Bowl at 13-3. Now, that record was arguably inflated by a couple of wins that maybe they didn't deserve to have, but they were still 13-3. They got stomped by the 49ers, and I think it caused Coach Matt LaFleur or GM Brian Gutekunst or CEO Mark Murphy to take an if we can't beat them, join them attitude as it relates to the 49ers, loading up draft picks on this vision for an offense that is more premised on the run than the pass. all this speculation about Aaron Rodgers' future and who the hell knows how much longer he's going to be the quarterback of the team or when he's going to be playing for the Vikings by way of the Jets like Brett Favre. But all that talk flows from the decision to trade up in round 1 and draft Jordan Love, a quarterback. That issue is not going to go away. No matter how much Matt LaFleur doesn't want to talk about it, no matter how much Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to talk about it, Aaron Rodgers helped hold that team together at a time when they didn't have much else beyond him. And now, by all appearances, they are pivoting toward a future that will not involve him. And if it works, to finally answer your question, the Packers may continue. You go from Favre to Rodgers to Love. There's no team that's ever had a 3-time quarterback, great one. But for now, I feel like the Packers involuntarily abdicated the throne as they regroup, and it gives the Vikings a chance to win the division. The question is, are the Vikings good enough to do more than win the division? It's been 44 years now since they've been to a Super Bowl, and they've teased the fan base just enough in recent years. But I really wonder, is there enough there to finally push through? And what will be waiting for them when they do push through? Can they compete with the best team in the AFC?